ng bawat isa na tumayo para sa isang panalangin at pambansang awit ng ating minamahal na Pilipinas.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, dalas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuyak ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingin, sa naganap tutok sa simoy at sa langit ko bagaw, ay hinanap tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng katawan mo'y tagumpay na naghihinig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di maghihinig. Luha ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya ng pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Maaari na pong maupo ang lahat. It's a good day indeed and welcome to this presentation or ang paglalahad ng detailed engineering design ng Barangay Pamarawan Nature-Based Coastal Flood Protection Pilot Project. So medyo mahaba-haba ang title ng ating proyekto, pero mamaya I'm sure may excite tayong marinig kung ano nga ba ang nilalaman ng proyektong ito. Pero bago tayo magsimula, syempre, hindi po na natin maaring hindi banggitin ang mga kalahok or participants mula sa ating mga member municipalities and also our friends from the DPWH, from the Bulacan Provincial Capital representatives, and our friends from the Academe, Bulacan State University, and our friends from the media who are all present here today to witness this very important presentation. And syempre, mamaya may kilala din ninyo ang ating mga bisita mula sa Netherlands Embassy at ang ating mga technical experts mula sa RHB. So simulan po muna natin. So di ba nag-practice tayo kanina ng ating introductions upang kilalanin ang ating mga kasamahan na nagbiyahe para makarating at marinig ang ilalahad ngayong araw. Ayan, i-welcome po natin ang ating mga kasama mula sa bayan ng Balanga, Bataan. Maaari po bang tumayo at palakpakan natin sila? Pinapangunahan ni Menro Merlisa Acosta, Engineer Miguel A. Sanchez, and Miss Elsa P. Ilaga. Kaway-kaway naman po tayo dyan. Ayan. So, ayun po. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras na inilaan para ngayong araw na ito. Sabi nila sila po ang early bird. So, sir, meron daw po bang award ang early bird? Ayan. First to arrive in our program. Mula naman sa bayan ng Masantol, Pampanga. Yan. Mula sa MDRRMO, Paul Vincent Magat, Engineer Gary Viray ng Municipal Engineer at Engineer Eliza Borsil ng MPDO. Palakpakan po natin ang mga taga Masantol, Pampanga. Morning po. Mula naman sa bayan ng Makabebe, Pampanga, mula sa kanilang Menro Engineering MPDO at dating konsehal Randolph Clarin, Engineer Nabong, Engineer Benosa, and Mary Clarice Balgan. So palakpakan po na natin ang ating mga kasama mula sa Makabebe, Pampanga. Mula naman sa bayan ng Sasmuan, Pampanga, no? Kasama din natin ang ating mga kasamahan mula sa MDRRMO, Menro, at Municipal Admin, no? Si Engineer Roberto Sunga, Engineer De Leon, and Engineer Angeles. Palakpakan nga po natin sila. Ayun. Mula naman po sa bayan ng Hagonoy, syempre, no, kasamahan po natin mula sa bayan ng Hagonoy, mula sa Engineering Office, ang ating Municipal Engineer, Engineer Miguel, at si Engineer Sabino, at kasama rin po natin si Sir Steven Velasco mula sa ating Menro, no? At ang ating kasamahan mula sa Sangguniang Bayan, no, si Cons Tina Perez. Ayan, kasama po dito. Makikinig sa atin. At si Kagawad Adrian Lopez. Ayun po. Mula naman po sa bayan ng Kalumpit, Bulacan, kasama po natin mula sa Municipal Engineering, MPDO, at sa Menro, no? Kasamahan po natin sina Engineer Valentin, si John Lagunsad, Architect De La Cruz, Edel Garcia, and Jason Parumong mula sa Kalumpit, Bulacan. Ayan. Mula naman po sa bayan ng Paumbong, no? Kasamahan po natin ito, mga talagang suki rin ito sa pag-attend sa ABB-BP. Mula po sa kanilang Municipal Engineer, Engineer De La Cruz, at MPDC at sa Menro rin po nila. So palakpakan po natin mula sa bayan ng Paumbong. Mula po sa bayan ng Bulacan, no? Mula sa Menro nila, Engineer Roque, Engineer Fernando, kanilang Municipal Engineer, at ang MPDO Engineer Ferrer. Ayan. Bulacan. Mula po sa bayan ng Obando, ayan, malayo-layo rin ang kanilang pinanggalingan. Mula po sa MPDO at sa Municipal Engineering Office, no? So si Engineer Avena, si Sir Jaime de los Reyes, and Armando de Guzman, sir. Ayan. At syempre, tatawagin ko na rin siya pamaya-maya. Ayan, ang mga kasamahan natin mula sa ating host city, no? Na talaga namang sila ang pioneer at pilot sa napakagandang proyektong ito. Mula sa syudad ng Malolos, mga kasamahan po natin. Mula sa Senro, of course, si Sir Amiel Cruz. At ang city administrator natin nandito kanina at ang syempre lahat ng mga kawanian staff dito na tumutulong para tayo ay i-welcome lahat sa syudad ng Malolos. At muli, ito naman po ang ating mga bisita na makikinig din sa presentasyon ngayong umaga mula sa DPWH Bulacan District 1 Engineering Office, mula sa opisina po ni Engineer Alcantara, no? Si Engineer Talukod, Engineer Tayaw, Engineer Buendia, at Engineer Rojas. Palakpakan nga po natin. Yan mula sa DPWH. Mga kasamahan po natin mula naman sa Bulacan Provincial Capital. Ang kinatawan po ng ating Benro at ang kinatawan din ng ating Provincial Planning Office, no? Palakpakan nga po natin sila. Mangyari nga po tumayo ang mga taga-PPDO at Benro. Nandyan po ba sila? Ayun, eto po. Ayan, palakpakan po natin ang ating mga taga-PPDO and Benro. Ayan. At kasama naman po natin mula sa Akadim, no? Ang dekana po ng Bulacan State University Hagonoy Campus, no? Si Dean Marvin Tuliao and ang ating pong kasamahan sa ABB-BP rin at kasamahan po namin si Ma'am Brida Reyes, Kagawad Bridget ng Sagrada. Ayan, Hagonoy, Bulacan. At si si Sir Ace Daria mula sa Civil Engineering Department ng Bulacan State University. Ayan, salamat po sa inyong pagdalo. At ang mga kasamahan naman po natin sa media, na-acknowledge din po natin. Yan, medyo madami po kayo, kaya lahat na po kayo ay babanggitin natin. Mga kasamahan po natin sa media, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras at pagdalo ngayong umaga. At syempre, hindi pa huli ang ating mga bisita mula sa Netherlands Embassy. Unahin na po natin si Ambassador Mariel Gerads. Ayan. Ayan. Kasamahan po niya si Sir Franco. Ayan, katabi niya po. Mula naman po sa Royal Haskoning Philippines, ang team po na maglalahad ngayong umaga. So sila may pinakamabigat na obligasyon para ilahad po sa inyo na maunawaan ang ating proyekto. Si Ma'am Eileen Bismonte, Raman Maharjan, Patrick Baragua, Marian Pajarillo, Ulysses Nerien, si Trevor Maurice Ale. Ayan, mula sa Royal Haskoning HB. Okay, so dahil magkakilala na tayo, para naman tayo ay formal na i-welcome dito sa syudad ng Malolos, tinatawagan ko po ang ating Senro, Sir Emiel Cruz. Palakpakan po natin si Sir Emiel.
Thank you po, ma'am. Isang makakalikasang araw po sa lahat. Sa ngalan po ng lungsod ng Malolos na pinangungunahan ni Abogado Christian Natividad, ako po si Amiel Cruz, ang nanunumparang pinuno ng kapaligiran at likas na yaman ay malugod naming tinatanggap dito sa aming dakilang syudad. Nawa, ang pagpupulong na ito ay maging makabuluhan at muli, welcome po sa dakilang lungsod ng Malolos.
Thank you, Sir Emiel. Short but sweet. Para daw po marami tayong oras mamaya. Naalala niyo po ba, may recitation tayo, no? So makinig kayong mabuti sa presentation ni Sir Raman, no? At ngayon naman po, syempre, para naman ikwento ulit sa atin, saan nga ba tayo nagsimula at saan napatungo ang ABB-BP at ang napakahalagang pilot project na ito at para ibigay din sa atin kung ano ba ang daloy ng ating palatuntunan. At i-remind kayo na merong Q&A portion. Ayan, tawagin po natin ang tagapangulo ng ABB-BP, si Sir Angel L. Cruz Jr.
Maraming salamat, Abogada Mildred Ople. Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Kararaan po lamang ng Bagyong Karina. Nagsalubong ang tubig mula sa taas at ang malaking kalakhan. 5 linggo pa lamang, muli ay ito naman si Enteng, na nag-iwan din ng malawakang pagbaha sa ating mga paligiran. Sa amin, sa itaas ng Hagunoy, ay mabagal ang pagkati. Sa panahon natin ngayon, ay nananatiling walang katiyakan sa pagbabago ng klima. Sa ngayon, ang atin lamang maasahan ay mas malalakas na bagyo at ulan, mas malalakas na pag-alon sa ating mga baybay, mas malaking at mabilis na pagbaba ng tubig mula sa ating mga kailugan, unti-unti ang pag-angat ng level ng dagat at sinasabayan pa ng pag-impis ng lupa, dala ng walang tigil na paghigop natin ng groundwater. Punot dulo ay ang pag-apaw at malawakang pagbaha, pansamantala o pangmatagalang lubog. Anong mga solusyon ang angkop? Anong mga napapanahong teknolohiya ang nararapat? papaano nating sama-sama na kakaharapin at pagtatagumpayan ang hamon ng bagong klima. Yan po ang misyon ng ating alyansa. Saksi tayo sa mga pagsusumikap ng ating mga pambansang kagawaran ng DANR, ng DSWD, ng DPWH, ang pagsusumikap din ng ating mga munisipyo, ng ating bawat pamahalang barangay, maging sa pamamahagi ng mga pangmadaliang kaluwagan upang mairaos ang mamamayan sa mga panahon ng sigwada o sa pagtatayo ng mga istrukturang panligtas na ang layon ay pangmatagalan. Magkasing halaga maging ang pangmatagalan at ang pangmatagalan. Kaya't ano ang mga solusyon na angkop, maitanong na rin. Maliban sa mga solusyong atin nang nakagawian, ano pa kaya ang mga napapanahong pamamaraan? Isa pong pagpapahalaga ng ating alyansa ay ang pakikipag-partner sa mga handang makiisa at handang sumuporta. Kaya't mapalad po ang ating alyansa dahil sa mga nakahandang tumulong. Magandang halimbawa ang pakikipagtulungan, ang kasunduan sa pagitan ng Lungsod ng Malolos, ng Alyansa ng mga Baybaying Bayan ng Bulacan at Pampanga at ang bansang Netherlands. Kung bakit? Nagkaroon tayo ngayon ng pagkakataon ng isang pilot project na tinatawag na nature-based bilang proteksyon ng baybay sa pagbaha. Hayaan po nating maipaliwanag ng mga kinatawan ng Royal Haskoning de Ave, Pilipinas, ang tungkol sa pilot project. Diba? Kapiling at kinikilala po natin ngayong umaga ang punong kinatawan ng tumutulong sa atin na bansa ng Netherlands, walang iba kung hindi ang kanilang punong kinatawan, si Ambassador Mariel Gerards. At isa pang kalakasan ng ating alyansa ay ang kahandaan at marubdob na pagnanais ng isang pioneer na punong bayan na handang tanggapin at maisulong sa kanyang nasasakupan ang pilot project na ipapaliwanag maya-maya. Kaya't ako po ay masaya, with great pleasure, I stand here this morning to welcome co-engineers, environment officers, planning officers, co-officials, municipal officials of the 10-member municipalities, and a potential new member of the Alliance, the city of Balanga, Bataan. This morning, you have remained supportive and loyal to the mission of the Alliance. With great respect, I commend the city of Malolos for hosting this morning, and in particular, I commend the pioneer mayor for hosting the project, and the barangay Pamarawan coastal nature-based flood protection pilot project, no other than Mayor Cristian Natividad, who will be joining us later today, later this morning. And of course, I will repeat with great pride, I greet the ambassador for honoring this occasion this morning. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.
Ayan. Maraming salamat po, Sir Angel. At ngayon naman po, para ipabatid ang kanyang pagsuporta at upang ibigay ang mensahe mula sa Netherlands Embassy, may we call on in front the Ambassador of the Netherlands, Her Excellency Marielle Gerards.
Magandang umaga. Sorry, that's just a little bit of the Tagalog I speak, so I will speak in English if you allow me. Representatives of the Malolos City, ABB-BP President and distinguished Dutch alumni, Mr. Angel Cruz, not the only Angel Cruz in the room, I understand. Mayors, ABB-BP members, and other representatives of the different coastal towns of the province of Bulacan and Pampanga, the City Council of Malolos and community leaders from Barangay Pamarawan, guests from the national government agencies and the province of Bataan, distinguished guests, Mangga, Kaibigan, Bulacanyo, at Kapampangan. Good morning. Climate change is a global challenge that requires all of us to take responsibility. And I think we all realize that now is a crucial time to take action. Protecting our coastal communities whilst being responsible and conscious of our ecosystem hinges on proactive efforts, with water being the driving force of climate adaptation. The Netherlands' international water ambition is committed to advancing the SDG agenda, placing climate adaptation at the forefront of its mission. Our strategy is built on strengthening local capacity through partnerships, adopting an integrated approach to water safety and water security, and promoting the Netherlands as a center of excellence. And this is the reason why we are here. How did we become water experts? Through our interactive approach to finding innovative solutions for the pressing challenges of the world today, the Dutch way of thinking and working has been shaped by centuries of living in the low-lying delta of the Netherlands. I'm not sure if you're aware, but more than 2/3 of our country lies below the sea level. Our experience and the desire to solve problems sustainably made us commit to finding ingenious ways to tackle challenges like water, urbanization, energy, food, health, and security. By being inventive, pragmatic, and open to new ideas, we can say that we have created a flourishing and resilient land. The Netherlands is a constantly evolving ecosystem of cities, industry, agriculture, and nature, all integrated through smart and sustainable infrastructure. These are the expertise and the experience that we, the Dutch, are keen to share with our partners like the Philippines. Learning from the past to create a better future. Through the exchange of knowledge and experiences among governments, collaborative research, and the implementation of effective climate adaptation measures, we can create a more resilient and livable world. I would say that the Netherlands and the North Manila Bay region geographically have a lot in common. We are both surrounded by and economically rely on water in a delta region. And I think it's safe to assume that the Netherlands understands Bulacan, Pampanga, and Bataan when it comes to these problems. While the Netherlands is protected against the water quite well now, it was only in 1953 we had a major flooding. 2,000 people were killed, 72,000 people were evacuated, and more than 200,000 animals drowned. The diversity of the ecological and social features within our coastal community means that we need to go back to nature for inspiration. Natural processes in itself are well designed, even before human settlements and infrastructure took over former wetlands and mudflats. In coming up with solutions, infrastructure should also consider the impacts and implications this project might have on its surroundings and the community. This is why, as part of our path for sustainable infrastructure, the Netherlands has been advocating for nature-based solutions as an alternative to grey or concrete-based infrastructure. We acknowledge that nature-based solutions is an idea that is just in its infancy or novelty here in the country. That is why we are thankful that we have the Alyansa ng mga Baybaying Bayan ng Bulacan at Pampanga and the local government of the city of Malolos as our partners in this endeavor. Their belief and willingness to innovate is a defining piece in this collaboration. We are grateful to be able to partner with one of the country's innovative and broad-minded young leaders in the person of Mayor Christian Natividad. Likewise, let me express my gratitude to former Hagonoy town mayor and dear friend of the Netherlands, Mr. Angel Lontok Cruz. His passionate quest to solve the persistent flooding in his hometown led us to this project. Thank you, sir. A big thank you as well to the City Council, the Centro, and the legal and engineering offices of Malolos, represented by another Mr. Cruz, who made sure necessary funds and support is ready for the implementation of this pilot project. Of course, appreciation also goes to Haskoning, Royal Haskoning VHV. I'm confident that bringing you over 100 years of experience and internationally recognized work standard to this project ensures that no stone is left unturned in our quest to find the right solution to manage the dangers brought by floods and storm surges to the promising coastal communities in this region. Lastly, to the leaders and the residents of Barangay Pamarawan, thank you for the trust. As our partners, please know that the embassy is always open and ready to listen should you need to raise concerns about this project. The Dutch government has and always will be committed to balancing the necessity and impact of our projects, ensuring no one is left behind. In closing, let me reiterate that our government, through our embassy in Manila, along with other Dutch development programs and instruments like the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, Partners for Water program, will remain dedicated to this project. We would like to see through, be part, and witness the success of this endeavor. We are grateful that the City of Malolos appropriated funds for the construction and maintenance of this pilot and expressed their eagerness to continue working with us as we monitor the impacts this project will bring for the people of Pamarawan. We would also like to express our optimism that this won't be the last collaborative undertaking between ABB-BP and the Netherlands. Together with everyone, let us remain true to our goal, and that this is to replicate similar sustainable projects to the rest of the municipalities in this region. Para sa mga Bulaqueño at mga Kakapangan, and hopefully soon, para sa mga tiga-Bataan. Maraming salamat at magandang umaga po sa lahat. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Siguro yung isa sa mga pinakamatingkad na sinabi ni Ambassador, no? This is just the beginning. At hindi magsasawa ang ating Netherlands Embassy sa patuloy na pagtulong sa alyansa ng sa ABB-BP, no? At narinig naman nating lahat na yung dinadala talaga nila dito ay yung kanilang over 100 years of experience, no, dealing with this problem. And lahat tayo relate sa kanila dahil 2/3 ng kanilang bansa ay katulad din ng sitwasyon natin dati. At nakita rin natin kung paano yun unti-unting nasolusyonan. And so we are all very excited to hear the next part of our program. Ito na yung sinasabi ko po sa inyo, no, na mag-notes tayo kasi baka may recitation mamaya. Ayan. Hindi na po natin patatagalin pa. I-welcome po natin ang Royal Haskoning DHB Philippines para sa paglalahad ng detailed engineering design ng Barangay Pamarawan, Nature-Based Coastal Flood Protection Pilot Project. Ayan, palakpakan po natin ang Royal Haskoning.
Hindi ako makita. Pwedeng pahiram. Okay, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Good morning. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo dito. Ako po ay si Eileen. I come from isa po ako sa mga empleyado ng Royal Haskoning DHB. Dito po sa Philippines branch nila. Nandito po ako para ipresenta sa inyo together with our technical project manager here, Raman. You will hear from him later on. Tungkol dito po sa ating pilot project nga po na nagawa na po namin ng design para po sa Barangay Pamarawan dito po sa city ng Malolos. So, pwede na po siguro tayo mag-umpisa ng konti. Maya-maya po, during the presentation, i-introduce ko din po yung mga kasama ko po sa team. Nandito po sila. And also, siguro po ang pwede nating gawin, tapusin po namin muna ho yung aming pag-present. After we present, then we are very much open to your questions, your queries, your concerns, and whatever else. So, para lang at least mabilis po yung ating daloy ng ating pag-present. So, okay. Gusto ko po, ito po ang ating daloy ng presentation. So, konting introduction lang po, a little introduction about our company, and then we'll have a project background in the timeline, kind of a history, kasi may history po to eh. This project has a history. And then we'll have yung goals and objectives, although this is this has been said many times already by Sir Angel and of course the ambassador herself. We talk here about nature-based solutions. Again, you have heard this phrase already earlier on. Siguro just a little bit of context kung ano ba talaga ito. Kasi I'm sure marami sa inyo medyo theoretical, medyo blurry yung ibig sabihin niya. Kahit kami, we are also struggling with that, but I think we have come up with something na maintindihan po ng lahat. And then, after that, I will turn over the floor to our technical manager, si Raman po. He will now discuss in more detail the engineering design that we have prepared already, so the project outputs, and then papunta po tayo hanggang way forward, and then of course, yung open forum. Okay? So here, just so Royal Haskoning DHB, we are a 140-year-old Dutch engineering company. Employee-owned po kami. Project management, then consultancy we also do. We have some business lines, and we are in 35 countries. When I say 35 countries, meron po kaming presence doon in 35 countries, but we have done work in more than 100 countries around the world already. So nagkaroon na po kami ng mga projects in more than 100 countries. Okay, so 140 po ang shall we say, our mother company, which is based in the Netherlands. But 20 years na po ang Haskoning Philippines. So Haskoning Philippines, we just celebrated our 20th year last month. So that we were established here in 2004. So that's why we're 20 years. Medyo nag-increase na po kami niyan. So we are more than, I think we're about 60 people already here in the Philippines office. And we offer our services both to public and private sector. And we cover all phases, project phases, master planning, feasibility study, conceptual and detailed engineering designs. And this is where we come in now. Meron din kaming construction supervision, operation and management, maintenance, repair, and upgrade. So Together with our clients, we undertake projects to create, improve water and maritime infrastructure and enhance communities in the Philippines. Dito po sa Pilipinas, makikita niyo po, ito po yung aming ginagawa na dito. Meron kaming climate resilience, we're into maritime. We also do some land reclamation, water tech, renewable energy also. So yun po ang aming munting introduction tungkol sa aming company here. We have been here quite some time, so there's a lot of local knowledge in this company right now. Okay, so project background. Siguro, many of you, this project hindi lang siya dumating ng bigla-biglaan. Medyo mahaba bang proseso ang pinagdaanan natin, but just to tell you, I think most of you, would have heard also of some of the background of this. So, this all started in 2020 when the Manila Bay Sustainable Development Master Plan was completed. This master plan was a collaboration between the Philippine government and the Dutch government. So, ano po yan? Natapos po yan noong 2020. So, and this was, of course, led by NEDA, National Economic Development Authority. After that, in 2022, so meron na tayong master plan. It's actually still in the process of being, shall we say, implemented per se. Pero ang Dutch kasi, they wanted to keep moving. Mabilis kasi magtrabaho ang mga Dutch eh. So sabi nila, natapos na yung master plan. What next? What's happening, etc. But we have to say, well, it's still undergoing some processes in the Philippine government. But they said, okay, what else can we do to at least move it forward a little? So in 2020, the Dutch government again, shall we say, funded the preparation and completion of the North Manila Bay Flood Protection Strategy. Ang priority measure po nito ay to reduce people, properties, and livelihood exposure to flooding by implementing nature-based coastal protection programs. So, this flood protection strategy po was also done by Haskoning Philippines. So, ano po kami dyan? Kasali pa rin kami dyan. And this was completed in 2022. After that, nisip namin, okay, we now have a strategy for North Manila Bay. What's next? Again, just sort of a context here. The reason why I have, I think, a more knowledge about this, I used to work for the Dutch Embassy. And when this was being done, ako po yung focal person nun at that time. So after that, we were saying, okay, what happens to the strategy? And then we were saying, okay, the embassy was then thinking, how are we going to now move forward? How can we find people or maybe an LGU who would be willing to undertake some of the strategies that have been identified there? And luckily, with the help of course, the Alyansa, Sir Angel Cruz here, he said, well, we really like to help you there. How can we move this forward? So, and then, we met the Malolos City Mayor, si Mayor Natividad. And then, the Dutch government again funded this next phase, shall we say, in identifying pilot locations for these nature-based solutions, no? So, ang na-identify po namin noon, again done by our company, was in Barangay Panasahan and Barangay Pamarawan. So, we were thinking of these kinds of solutions for those two barangays at that time. Unfortunately, hindi na po natuloy yung Barangay Panasahan. So, in the next phase, ang nangyari ay yung detailed engineering design po ay ginawa na lang namin for Barangay Pamarawan. We have here 3 specific solutions that we had identified during the identification stage. And then, the next stage in 2024, early this year again, we are now conducting and we are now going to present to you the detailed engineering design for these 3 nature-based solutions in Barangay Pamarawan. As you can see here, I think this was already discussed earlier on. There is actually a memorandum of agreement together with, of course, the ABB-BP, the Netherlands Enterprise Agency, represented by the Netherlands Embassy here, and of course, the City of Malolos and Barangay Pamarawan. So yan po yung history. So medyo mahaba-haba, pero nandito na po tayo sa stage na to, 2024, making the design. So ito po yung main objectives namin. Okay? So of course, our main objective is we need to protect the people and the properties and the livelihood from flooding exposure based na by implementing nature-based coastal protection program solutions. So this is just a picture of what they are experiencing during coastal flooding yan. So yan po yung main natin. Kailangan natin protektahan yung mga tao na nandun. Kasi lagi silang na-expose pagka may mga malalakas na alon, pagka may mga malakas na ulan, lagi sila ho ang napipinsala palagi. So yun po ang ating main goal, na maprotektahan sila somehow from these from the surge, from the waves. Of course. So yung objective po namin dito, for this project, we needed to prepare a detailed engineering designs of structures to mitigate the floods from the sea using nature-based solutions. So nature-based solutions, medyo hindi siya masyadong, shall we say, popular kasi sa totoo lang, wala pa naman talaga siyang true science. But we feel that it is something that can be used to actually mitigate the floods that is being experienced by Barangay Pamarawan. So, what are nature-based solutions? Ito po yung definition na alam namin. So, actions to protect, sustainably manage, and restore natural or modified ecosystems that address societal changes. So, medyo malabo yan. Pero siguro mayroon akong Tagalog eh. Okay. Solusyong nakabatay sa kalikasan, nature-based solutions. So, these are solutions na maaaring makatulong para labanan ang pagbabago ng klima, pagbaha, pagkawala ng saribuhay or biodiversity at kakulangan ng tubig. So, nature-based solutions work with or mimic natural processes and local materials to address challenges such as climate change, flood protection, biodiversity loss, and water security. So marami dito makikita nyo, NBS applications, mga kabutihang dulot ng nature-based solutions. Unang-una, laban siya sa pagbago ng klima or climate change. Tulong din siya laban sa sakuna or disaster risk reduction. Tulong sa socio-ekonomiya, development. Pananatili ng saribuhay or biodiversity. And then, nakita mo dyan, human health. So, pampublikong kalusugan, seguridad sa pagkain, food security, and of course, pangalaga, tsaka seguridad din sa katubigan natin. So, yan ang nature-based solutions. Mamaya, pagka-explain po ni Raman sa inyo, mas maintindihan niyo po yung concept na yon. Dahil itong mga struktura po na aming dinesign at pinopropose, ay nakabatay talaga siya na hindi siya, in a way, it won't harm so much what is there already in the environment. In fact, it will even help propagate some of the things that are happening in that environment right now. So, with that, eto po lang yung structure na naiisip namin, just to give you that's Barangay Pamarawan there, that area. And so we're looking to create a green embankment in that area, some sediment trapping units here, and of course, we will have here some enhanced breakwater. So I let Raman now explain to you better the design itself. So, thank you po.
Thank you, Eileen, for giving a project background. So magandang umaga po sa iyo lahat, again. I tried actually last time presenting this thing in Barangay Pamarawan. I tried in Tagalog, but it didn't go well. I have been living here in Philippines for 6 years, so I know a little bit of Tagalog. So I was mixing up some words, and then I thought, okay, let's give it up. But then I remember again, our actual basis of this design is learning by doing and redoing in a better way. So, pwede naman try ulit ako dito. Also with my Tagalog, the same approach as we are doing it here. But it won't be fully Tagalog. I will try my best. But please, if you have any concerns that you couldn't understand in some way, because technically it's a bit boring, but I will try to make it simpler as far as I can do it. So going back to the structures, the same where Eileen left, here is the enhanced breakwater. The main purpose of the enhanced breakwater, actually, what we are using it is for breaking the impact of waves, so that there is like kind of a bit of mitigation of wave impact at the structures behind breakwater and also the communities living behind it. The purpose here for enhanced breakwater is not only to protect our sediment trapping unit, but we are also expecting it to help the sediment accumulation in our sediment trapping units. So the sediment trapping units, it's made out of bamboos, and then this will be the structure where we are collecting the sediments, and this will be the one where the base for mangrove plantation will be happening at the end. And then green embankment, at the initial, our previous phase study, it was supposed to be just at the back of sediment trapping units. But then now that we already have a concrete structure, the DPW is like there. So now we are considering this will be a complement to the DPW structure. Whenever there's like a typhoon and then there's a wave, it will, when we have final product, the mangrove plantation in front, it will minimize the wave impact. So there might be reduction of the overtopping of the dike. The chronology of activities, what we did during the DED, it was a short, actually, just like 5 to 6 months of the whole thing. We started at March. We did stakeholder consultations with Barangay Pamarawan, also LG of Malolos. Until March, April, May, it was more on coordination meetings. Then it followed with some site investigations, bathymetry and topography survey, the modeling, sediment sampling, and finally the design, drawings, and BOQ estimate during the month of June, July, went until August. And just last mid-August, we were able to submit the draft DED for the project. Again, going back to the main project structure, as I explained earlier, this is the layout, the plan of the whole structure. We can see the breakwater here, and then sediment trapping unit. This has been already ongoing in the Dimak in Indonesia. The only thing is they didn't need the breakwater because, as I understood, the typhoon waves were not as strong as here in North Manila Bay. So we came up with the approach that we will not only put sediment trapping unit, but we might also have to look at the breakwater approach. And then finally followed by the last structure is green embankment. For the design, we started with the field investigation. Here, the geotechnical investigation, it was done to confirm the soil condition for stability and settlement analysis of our structures. The 3 boreholes were drilled, 2 in the proposed embankment alignment and 1 in the proposed STU location. So the result was, as expected, we already had some previous experiences in North Manila Bay. We didn't, until 20 meters, there were no like hard strata. It was just a soft soil. And also the soft soil, which means that these are high settlements, and then it is a challenge for structural stability. So we have to deal with it. The next is topographical and bathymetry survey. We did a topographical survey for the green embankment alignment and also bathymetry where we are proposing the STU, sediment trapping unit, and breakwaters. Okay, and our basis of design, the general design consideration, the life of the structure, the sediment trapping unit is only for 10 to 15 years. So the main objective of the sediment trapping unit is to create a base for mangrove plantation. Once it is achieved, we don't need to maintain the sediment trapping unit anymore. And then followed by enhanced breakwater, it is also around 15 years, the time of the life of the structures that we are looking at, because also the main objective is to collect the sediment and also to protect the sediment trapping units. Once we have achieved the objective of sediment trapping unit, the breakwater is also not required anymore. But for green embankment, here the life period that we have designed is only for 10 years. But I will also walk you through why it's only 10 years, though the green embankment is the one that should stay there forever. But just our current design is for 10 years. Also, the main approach of design is, as I also explained, there's also already DPWH dike, so the structures that we are putting now should complement the existing the dike already. And in addition, all these structures, the life might enhance further with the regular monitoring and maintenance of the structure. And again, this is learning by doing approach and then redoing approach. This is a pilot project, so most of the NBS that we are looking at are site-specific. The parameters that we are looking at, they need to change based on like what the environment, what's the current situation of the area is. So there might be some issues or challenges during the implementation phase, but we are taking that as an input parameter of feedback for redoing it in a better way. So that's our actual approach for the design of these structures. The main data that we are using for coastal design are tidal level, storm surge, and sea level rise. Maybe a figure here is it's not very clear, but it is the one that scenario that we want to show you. What are the tidal levels? The tidal level is a fluctuation just because the normal fluctuation that we have like highest tide, the lowest tide, and the mean sea level. Here the mean sea level that we have assumed is 0, and the lowest tide is around minus 0.66 meter below mean sea level, and also the highest water level is 0.52. So on top of that, we have the storm surge, the height that we get because of the typhoons. And then also we have the height of the wave on top of storm surge. In addition to all of this, we have like a sea level rise. That's the issue that we are facing all over the world, right? So we also in North Manila Bay, we have the same issue. And here we have considered all these three parameters in the design of our structures. The sea level rise, we use the projection that was used by NASA for the Manila South Harbor Port. These data were, to determine the surge height, we did the hydrodynamic modeling, and the main parameter that we used was the typhoon that has hit the North Manila Bay so far. And we analyzed the surge height in these three locations, P1, P2, P3, and we used 50-year return period typhoon in this case, and the surge height that we get is around 1.38 meter, 1.37 meter, and 1.4 meter for these three locations. So they are used in our design. Good. Okay, so design water level. The actual design high water level that we use in the design of our structures, it's the combination of mean high water level, storm surge, and then sea level rise, and also we incorporated the uncertainties. That is like a freeboard that we are giving for the actual design high water level. We used 2.55 meter above mean sea level for our design parameter. For geotechnical design, we already, we saw that there's existing structure there. It's already a dike, but it's just above 1 meter. So that was there since 2002, looking at the satellite image. So we didn't recommend to move it out and build a new one, but the certain settlement has already been reached. So that was one of the consideration. We want to use the settlement there, and then we want to build a structure above that so that we can already make some use of the existing dike. And then the ground profile used in our geotechnical design was from our own geotechnical investigation. We also received the data from DPWH from their previous geotechnical investigation. It was used in our design because our geotechnical investigation was really taking long. So we used their data first, and then we validated those data from DPWH when we finally finished our own geotechnical investigation. This is a very important point. In our structure, since we are really looking at a nature-based solution, we didn't do any kind of ground improvement, especially for the foundation soil. There were no prefabricated vertical drainage that we usually recommend in like a the concrete structures. Also, no soil replacement are recommended in our proposed designs. And then only the earthquake loads that is assumed for 1 in 100-year return period earthquake, it is the one that we used in the design. And then construction timeline for this whole project is assumed to be 6 months. We did a settlement analysis for the green embankment. They are done for 3 zones of our embankment. One is at the toe, second at the mid of the embankment, and third at the crest. And then 2 settlements were, 2 type of settlement were considered. One is a construction settlement, that is like initial settlement that we get because of the construction material. And also the residual settlement that we get over the period of maintenance, that is a long-term settlement. So the total settlement of 0.45 meter is considered in this design. We go to the stability analysis of structure. Here we had the analysis done for 2 locations where we have our boreholes. Both boreholes has similar kind of result. And the failure mechanism, we looked at the 2 type of failure mechanism. One is Bishop and Spencer, just to make it simpler. Bishop is like more on like circular type of failure, and then the Spencer is more on like the wedge or like plane failure. And also the condition that we used is the static condition, that's a normal condition. And the second is the seismic condition, that is when there's an earthquake and there's like an effect of a seismic loading. In this case, for the Spencer failure mechanism, the structure, the embankment is safe here. But because we didn't apply any other like expensive equipment, the improvements of the soil, there is kind of slight failure for the seismic loading. That is for both locations. So here, if you can see the 43 centimeter and 50 centimeter, it's a displacement of the embankment itself. It's like, we call it like a near to failure, but it's still like in a state where it can be repaired. It's not a collapse failure, like complete collapse. So we also, this is already recommended in our operation and maintenance based on the result that we have it here. Some of the construction materials that we considered here, they all are locally available materials, and then also this does not have any effect on the biodiversity or like in the surroundings. Also economically it's very cheap compared to the other hard structures here. So for enhanced breakwater, it's bamboo, dead oyster shells, local fill material, manila ropes, and then also in some cases used fish nets can be also applied. And then the brushwoods, they are just the trees, the branches of trees that we can just collect at the surrounding. So this is the base material. This is also the one that we are recommending for others as well. And then also for the plant and grasses as a vegetation over the green embankment, we are looking at the grasses which is non-invasive as far as possible, but also it should be a salt tolerant, that it should be capable to grow in a marine environment. This is the plan of sediment trapping unit. We are proposing 22 units of sediment trapping units, which is each of the size of 50 meter by 50 meter, and it extends in front of the barangay Pamarawan throughout, which is about the length of 500 to 600 meters of the length. Just to give you an idea how actually the structure looks like, this is again the structure from the Indonesia. This is the nature-based solution. Most of you might have already seen these structures, just the application might be a new thing, but this has been already ongoing, so we are just trying to make use of it in the best way. So for sediment trapping unit, there will be, at every 5 meter, we are proposing a bracing that you can see on the right bottom corner. That's a bracing that supports actually the sediment trapping units. And the height of the sediment trapping here is around 8 meters. The 4 meters below the seabed and 4 meters above the seabed. It's also based on availability of the bamboo. The foundation, the one below the seabed, can go deeper just to stabilize the structure even in a better way. For the breakwater, we are proposing 2 types of breakwater. One is oyster breakwater and second is breakwater. Since this is piloting, we are trying to experiment also to see which one works better in our location. So the oyster breakwater is here as shown in figure. The base material will be still local fill materials that we can trace out. On top of the local fill material, we are proposing an oyster bags, the oyster bags that is readily available in our project area. So the jute bags actually also they can be filled with oysters and they can be used as a riprap on the top of the fill material. That is one option of oyster bowls. But in addition to that, we are also proposing to put bamboo poles every 5 meters. These are for two purposes. One is to stabilize the soil fill material, and then second is also oysters to colonize further. Actually, the oysters needs kind of like hard surface where they can colonize. In cases where unused reclamation fill cannot be sourced, any fill material can be used here. So we are just looking around our project location, and we are not recommending to bring we don't want to make it costly by bringing the fill material from outside the project area. The second type of breakwater is just made out of bamboo again. So it's very similar to sediment trapping unit, but instead of there will be layers of bamboos, but inside there will be oyster shells. So that will help the structure to stabilize further. And the main concept here is to the oysters to form their own habitat. And then the oysters can colonize them, they attach to each other, and they already make their own kind of structure that will remain there naturally. The main concept of this one is it also came from something that is already being applied in Philippines itself. We saw it in Iloilo and also in Leyte. What they are doing this one is for oyster farming. So it really works that whenever there is like a bamboo structures, they can place themselves there, they colonize, and then oyster actually farming. It was very beneficial for the farmers that they started replicating these structures. Here we are using it for like multiple applications. Definitely one is for our structure itself to protect, to use it as the breakwater. But the second objective is also to sustain later the livelihood of the people there. With these structures, we are expecting that there will be also the improvement in the oyster farming. The third is like a green embankment. The green embankment is the one that we have adapted from DPW's design. We are also proposing two types of green embankment. Basically, they are the same. We just also want to experiment here with the vegetation, two types of vegetation. The type 1 is with the vetiver grass, and then second is with the tiger grass vegetation. This is a DPW's design already, but we just enhanced it to make it more stable in our case. So here we changed the vertical and the slope of those embankments, and also we proposed additional protection, like putting some bamboo, also the cocoa log for the toe protection. Being a nature-based solution, it does have some design limitations. So here, the main design limitation for, I would like to say it is mainly the main purpose of all our structure is not to prevent the flooding. It will become very costly, and also it might not adapt with the changing climate. But here, we are looking at the prevention to minimize the coastal flooding, not really to completely, for our condition, it's just a reduction, not completely prevention. And for embankment, I also mentioned there were some changes in the location of the pre-identified location of the embankments. They were changed during our project implementation phase. For construction material, they are selected based on availability, sustainability, they are economical, and also little to no impact to the environment and then biodiversity. We can still look at the there might be also option to make it better way, but that might be very expensive to construct and also to maintain. But this one can be more nature-based and also can be operated and maintained easily by the communities living around. Then again, we didn't do any site-specific probabilistic seismic hazard analysis for this, but only the 1 in 100 return rate earthquake loading was used. The one parameter is ground subsidence that we are facing in North Manila Bay. It has not been incorporated in our design, but what we are recommending is to include the ground subsidence during the operation and maintenance phase. Also, the parameter that we are recommending now is based on the previous study. I can also, I recently got the update on that there is a new publication for the North Manila Bay. So we will be also trying to incorporate that in our final report. There are some few socio-environmental challenges and also benefits. I would like to discuss that on both ways. So one of the challenges is the impact on the livelihood of the community living in Barangay Pamarawan. Some of the fish pens and the oyster beds, they might need to be permanently relocated because we are putting sediment trapping units which will eventually turn into mangroves. So the benefits is the mangrove restoration, the mangrove plantation will provide habitat and also improve the fishing and oyster population in the zone where we are putting these structures. The alternative livelihood we can also provide alternative livelihood through the involvement of those people who are affected by our structures in our operation and maintenance during those phases of the project. Further, the tidal mud flats in the project location, it is extended far beyond our structures. It's like extended up to 1.5 kilometers around. So those fish pens can be actually relocated beyond our structures as well. And then the final option might be to consider the need for the compensation of those people who are permanently affected. The second environmental challenge is its impact on the migratory birds. This issue was also considered because we saw that the option Barangay Pamarawan has a migratory birds. But the changing of tidal mud flat into mangrove forestation might be a bit of issue. But when we look at it into a detailed way, the tidal mud flat does not extend only until our structure. It's a bigger area than where we are putting structures. So it has enough space as a feeding ground for migratory birds. But at the same time, the mangroves also offers a rich habitat for these migratory birds. So they can provide shelter, nesting sites, and food sources for migratory birds. In addition to this, it also enhances the local biodiversity, attracting the wider range of birds, species, and also supporting their ecological habitats. Also, the proposed NBS structures, they can improve the fish and oyster farming in addition to providing coastal flood resilience. So the next challenge is where we are putting a green embankment that is a private land. So the private land needs to be acquired by the LGU, and maybe a need of compensation for the owner might be also needed here. And the last one is the impact on boat parking areas and boatways, where we are proposing the sediment trapping units. It's actually an area where they are parking the boats. And also that was one of the major issues that we discussed when we presented this project to the Barangay Pamarawan. So we are considering the few options how to resolve this issue. One can be, we can propose the alternative location for boat parking, and at the same time provide the elevated pathway so that the community can access straight to those new boat parking areas. And then the next is operation and maintenance. After the design, after it's constructed, it needs a continuous operation and maintenance of those structures. So the first 6 months, it can be a weekly monitoring. After 6 months, it can be once every month. And after 1 year, the monitoring can be done quarterly. But at the same time, because we have like often typhoons hitting the project area, after each typhoon, there should be inspection and monitoring of all these three structures. For the maintenance, for breakwater, these are the common maintenance that we are recommending. That is for the damaged oyster bags. They might be moved out also during the typhoon, and then they need to be restored in the structure again. The oyster shells also needs, it's not only for breakwater, but also for sediment trapping unit, we have to put a brushwood, which is damaged by the typhoon. And also the main bamboo structures, not only the brushwood, the main bamboo structure is the one that's holding the main structure, it has to be also replaced. For embankment, the toe protection will be the major factor that has to be monitored and has to be restored immediately if some issues are found. Also the vegetation, and then in case of subsidence, especially if it's the subsidence is recorded, then it needs to be, again, the topping is needed to maintain the height of the embankment. And then finally, erosion and seepage control. That's one of the main issue for green embankment that results to failure. So the erosion and seepage control is, it should be continuously monitored and also controlled during the operation and maintenance. So way forward, our next phase, we finished DED. Now we are considering, we are waiting for a review for our DED phase. Also, this is one of the stages where we are expecting your comments, suggestions. At the same time, way forward, we are preparing tender docs, and then by end of this September, the target is to have a call for a bid, and finally awarding and notice to proceed by the end of December. That's the next phase for this project. At the same time, for way forward for the project itself, also for NBS, this is just a pilot. So we are looking at the other possible extension of this project where we can replicate to the other locations as well. So we can look at also, we are also trying to coordinate with RBO, Netherlands Embassy, on how we can extend the similar kind of projects for in other locations as well. So this is the end of my presentation. So I give the floor to you all so that you can have your queries, also the suggestions for the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman, for that very comprehensive presentation, and to Ma'am Aileen as well, no? Talaga namang ang daming side na mga comment kaagad. So I'm sure excited na kayo na magtanong about the presentation. But kung okay lang po sa inyo, can we indulge, of course, our ambassador for a quick photo op, no? At kailangan na rin po mag-proceed ni ambassador to another function. So may we request everybody to please rise. Ayan, dito na lang daw po sa harapan. Ayan, para po sa isang mabilisang photo opportunity with ambassador. Ayan. Dito daw po. Ayan. So meron na lang siguro sa taas and then sa baba. Here po, in the middle. Ayan. Ayan. The others po can proceed here sa may platform. Ayan, para dun sa mga nangangailangan ng extra tulong sa height, katulad ko. Ayan, pwede sa taas. Ayan. Okay po. Ayan, we invite everybody to please join. Ayan. Ayan po. Pwede po dito sa side na to. Ayan, para kasya po tayo. Yung iba po pwedeng umakyat. Ayan, ayan. Tayong Miss Universe. Ayan, pwede rin po move forward ng kaunti. Ito. Itong rostrum. Pwede po bang maki-help? Ayan. Ayan, ayan. Ayan. Ayun. Ayan po. Yung mga cute po, dito sa harap. Yung height. Cute yung height, dito sa harap. Ayan. Dito po, pwede po dito. Ayan. Ayan. Dito na po. Ayan, okay na daw po. Ano po ba? Thumbs up po ba? Heart? Ano po ba? Alam ko na. Isa namang A dyan. A! Oh, mga kabini. Alam niyo ba yon? A! Yes, opo. It's a Philippine P-pop group. Formal daw po muna ulit. Formal daw. Ayan, formal. Alright, thank you po. Thank you everybody. So, thank you po Ambassador for being with us today. Ngayon po, mag-recitation na tayo. Magtatawag po tayo per municipality, no? Ayan, para sa inyong mga questions. We invite Raman and the RHB team, no, to be in front to be ready to answer the questions. Alright po. So, we invite again Raman to be in front for the questions, no? So, sino po ang mauuna magtanong? Kanina may yung maraming kwentuhan dito sa side. Ayan, unahin po ba natin, uy, bigla na silang umiiwas. Ayan, sino po ang gustong maunang magtanong? Siyempre, unahin ko yung aking mga kababayan. Ayan, unahin ko si Engineer Miguel. Ayan, so, Sir Raman?
Sir, good morning. Actually, my question is, have you considered the effects of the subsidence within the Manila Bay region? But the answer is in the slides already. So, we think that the design, we have to consider a yearly maintenance,
Yes,
which
sir.
is, I think it's very hard for the government. Most of the government projects, the weakness is the maintenance,
Yeah.
program. So, that's only my concerns on the program. And second, if that project will be done in our municipality in Hagonoy, most of our houses, on the back of the houses, that's already private lots. And we think we have to consider to purchase those lots, considering the width of the projects. That's very, very wide. So that's one.
Okay. So for the ground subsidence, for the maintenance, we are really looking forward to a community. They can do it because they will be trained. One of our contract agreement with the contractor for this project will be training the communities itself and using them as their livelihood. So they should be already be capable to do how to do the maintenance of the embankment and everything. So we are looking at the sustainability of the structure, taken care by the communities themselves. But yes, the ground subsidence is something that they might not understand. And that's where I think the technical support is needed. It can be DPWH engineers, it can be also the engineer from the LGU itself, but also we are also part of the project anyway. So if it needs more support, then we will be also there to give you the guidance. But the ownership and the actual maintenance, we are really looking forward to the community taking it over. So in that way, it will be cheaper. Also, it provides a livelihood to the community themselves. And sorry for the second question. It was. Yeah. Okay, sorry. That's a structure. Because the NBS, we also explained, it's a site-specific. So not the same thing we can exactly replicate there, but there might be something different that we can make it work in that location. So we don't need to exactly copy it. But the concept is nature-based solution. We can have a different approach there, which might fit to the Hagonoy as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Miguel. Tawag naman tayo sa ibang municipality. Ay, may volunteer tayo sa likod. Yes po.
Maraming salamat po. I'm Shane Prias Velasco from the Philippine Information Agency, the Government Information Arm. Sir, in the Philippine Climate Change Assessment Report that was submitted and approved by Philippine President Marcos this year, in July 2024, the sea level in Manila has been increasing by 2.6 centimeters per year. So how can we, sir, sustain that project without worrying that eventually it will be washed out? And when is the target completion, and how much is it is a grant or loan from the Dutch government? Thank you so much.
Well, for the sea level, we are considering for our design period at the moment. But yes, the structures that we are designing, it will further extend during maintenance. For now, we are looking at 0.38 meter for next 15 years. That's based on the NASA projection for North Manila Bay. So I assume that the study also done here by Philippines government, it might align with the same prediction. So we are considering sea level rise. But definitely, for now, we are only, in our design, we are considering only for the design life of next 15 years. But that will be also considered in the maintenance in the coming years and so on. Yeah, that's the first 15 years is we are looking at only for the sediment trapping unit and breakwater. Then there will be mangroves. The mangrove will also help minimize actually the impact of the typhoons, the surge. So we are looking at the changing climate, also the mangroves absorbing some of it already. But then sea level rise, for the embankments, for the dikes, they really need to, they have to be aligned along with the sea level as well, the sea level rise.
Sir, one follow-up. How about the funding? Is this a grant or loan from the Dutch government? How much?
I think we mentioned earlier on, up to the design stage, it has been the courtesy of the Dutch government. And the reason why that I think the Dutch government proceeded with providing support up to the design stage is because the LGU of Malolos, Mayor Christian Natividad himself, has committed funding the construction. So the construction of the NBS, the budget will come from the city of Malolos.
Design, yun yung pinondohan ng Dutch government.
Yes po.
And then ma'am, yung pinakikita po natin ngayon, popondohan po yun ng pamahalang lungsod.
Correct. Yung pag-construct po. So as mentioned by Raman earlier on, we're in the process, natapos na tayo sa design, we're in the process of the tendering. Kasi gusto po talaga ni Mayor Natividad na matapos na po ito, maumpisa na yung construction at para makita na rin natin na we're moving forward with this kind of nature-based solution pilot structures.
Ma'am, sa estimate po ninyo, magkano yung magagastos ng pamahalang lungsod yan? Thank you so much. Salamat. Thank you.
So the cost is around, we are looking at 130 million pesos. This is just the pilot structure, yeah, for the pilot structuring only, yeah.
Hello, welcome po. Siguro to add din po to the members of the ABB-BP, no, it's not just the design, even the prior study. Kasi katulad ng sinabi ni Raman, dun sa response niya sa question ng Hagonoy, na ito inaakma doon sa kalagayan nung barangay na kung saan i-implement yung project. So may prior study, may technical and feasibility study po na ginawa. At yung concern din ni Engineer Miguel kanina, how about the private properties, no, na maapektuhan ng project, all that has been considered. So may mga focus group discussion, meron din pong pakikipag-usap dun sa mga apektado na mga kabahayan kung saan i-implement yung project. So all those pre-work prior to the design has been funded by the Netherlands Embassy. So all of it, lahat po ng iyon ay pinondohan ng Netherlands Embassy up to this detailed engineering design. So may question po tayo dito from Obando.
are just concerned on the breakwater design. Bamboo, using bamboo poles as framings with dead oysters covered with coconuts. About the sustainability of that material, using bamboo, although not submerged in water, it will take 2-3 years time. Mapapalitan na naman natin yon. We have to remove and replace. And also the weight of the unit weight of the dead oyster shells is light materials. Baka isang bagyuan na habagat, it will be washed out. Have you considered that, sir, in the design?
Yes, sir. The first thing is the oyster shells. The weight itself is lighter, yes. So we have went through certain literatures to determine like what is actually the weight and then how they can be applied in the structural stability. We have considered that. But at the same time, for the design, we already considered the load of the one. For maintenance, we are also considering that it won't be perfectly stable after each typhoon. So it really needs to be monitored after each typhoon, and then there might be damage, but we are expecting it not to be completely washed away, because the bamboos, we are not just putting it like for certain, like it will be embedded, like at least 2/3 of the height of the bamboo, it should be below the seabed. So that will kind of give us stability to the structures. But then again, yes, the bamboo, I would say that is cheaper than actually if we look at the older materials, and they can be easily maintained by the communities who are very aware of how to take care of like the bamboo structures, because they are building the fish pens and then oyster beds. So we are really looking at something that can go along with the communities. The maintenance can really be done by the community themselves. Thank you.
Thank you po sa question ng Obandon. Thank you. Yes, may question po from the Kalumpit Municipality. Please introduce yourself po.
Po. Ang situation po namin sa Kalumpit ngayon ay marami na po sa aming area along riverbanks namin ay may mga concrete retaining wall. Paano po i-integrate ang project na to kung may mga existing retaining wall? At at the same time, yung limitation po nung area namin. Kasi ilog lang po kami.
So the answer is again same like what we answer to from Hagunay. It's really a site-specific things. So it's site-specific. It might not be the same thing what we are doing here. The things that we come up with the solution, it might be a bit different than what we are doing here. So the location, the problem that you have, it might have a new approach, still nature-based solution, but not exactly same what we are doing here. It might be something different that will best fit in your location.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay, so I think dapat klaruhin po natin kasi hindi po namin sinasabi na yung mga structures na aming dinesign dito ay pwede yung i-cut and paste. Kunin yan, i-paste ninyo sa sitwasyon ninyo. As mentioned by Raman earlier, this is project specific. Ang only thing na gusto naming maparating sa inyo ay lahat po niyan na kung meron mang kami, kung we will need to study the place, kung ano yung mas appropriate, but it will be nature-based solution. Yun po yung basis ng mga solusyon na aming aming mare-recommend o madi-design if ever sa inyong mga sariling lalawigan. So, kailangan po namin makita yung sitwasyon na nangyayari sa inyo para po makapag-recommend din po kami ng mga solusyon na akma po sa inyong sitwasyon.
All right, there's a question.
So-
There's an
so-
additional.
I just want to say one other thing about the nature-based solution, right? It may not be possible everywhere as well, right? So, but hard structures that we have been implementing for some time, big concrete walls, that's also not suitable everywhere. And we want to try and move away from these big concrete structures because we also see they're not sustainable. They're not flexible, and ultimately they will fail. Whereas a nature-based solution, it does take more space. So I think in the example you gave, sir, you need more space. If you have 200 meters of mangrove, they will stop the wave as good as a 10-meter concrete wall. But you have 200 meters instead of a 10-meter concrete wall. But which one is better? That's the question. They're different for different situations. But 200 meters of mangrove provides habitat, it provides fish, it provides livelihood, it provides nature. Yeah? And it generally will not fail unless we cut it down. So there is a big difference between nature-based and hard structures. Yeah? So it won't be suitable everywhere, but we do need to, more and more the wisdom is going towards nature-based, and that does mean making more room. As we have to step away from the water a little bit and give some space for nature, and nature will protect us. This project is just to give that nature a little boost to make it protect us. Okay? Thanks.
Thank you, Trevor.
All right, thank you for that addition. We have a question from Paumbong.
Yung po kasing kawayan din, as mentioned by Ubando, kasi nakalagay dun sa drawing nyo, 4 meters yata yung above. Tapos yung length ng bamboo is more or less mga 8 to 10 meters. Bali, ang babaon dun is 4 meters. At tapos yung pag-maintain, aakuin ng LGU more or less yung community. Ibabaon, kasi yan, pagka kinonstruct yan, during dun sa construction phase, sigurado mayroon kayong bako. Yung barangay, sigurado yun, wala naman bako. Paano mo ibabaon yung 4 meters na bamboo na ang sumasagot yung barangay? Ang laki ng magiging maintenance yan. Hindi mo naman maisama dun sa AIP kasi maintenance mo is yearly or almost more or less mga 6 months. Di po ba? Kasi yung umpisa po niya, sigurado may bako yung maglalagay niyan eh. Hindi naman po tao-tao yan eh. Pagka po minimaintain na yan, hindi na siya ibabaw ng tao nang magbabaw sigurado pag barangay na eh. Ang bamboo po as experience, kasi po may palaisdaan din kami, 2 years po, yung nakalabas niya sa tubig, sigurado mababalik. Bulok na po yan.
Well, yung prior experience sa Indonesia, the picture that we are showing, it's from actually Indonesia. So they did similar thing, but they really didn't go for the heavy equipment. What they did is they come up with a solution, like they put a load, a kind of like heavy load, and the people will climb above that, and they will just rotate it. The people standing on top and with the platform, they will stand, and then the people will be rotating it to go the bamboos further down. So they really actually didn't use the heavy equipment. They really came up with a solution that they can do it on their own. So can be replicated, or if it's not workable that way, we also have to find solution where we have to bring some machinery. But we are trying not to bring machinery, just do it by their own.
Tsaka sir, yung bamboo, hindi naman siya kon sa amin masyado. Kasi ini-import pa rin namin yan. Either manggaling ng Bataan, Quezon. Ang more or less sana, yung panggitna niyan, sa amin po, mas madali yan kung yung pinagsasahan. Tsaka yung unang-una sabi niyo dun sa unang presentation niyo po, colonization nung oyster. Hindi ko alam kung merong oyster sa Malolos or sa Bulacan. Sa Ubando po meron yan. Sa Paumbong meron. Pero po dun sa more or less sa Malolos, hindi ganong karami oyster yan eh. Kasi nakalagay din po sa base nyo nung kumbaga para tumiba yung structure, colonization of oyster ang nakalagay sa inyo po eh. Dapat may pondo rin kayo dun para mag-colonize. Kasi binibili din po ang bini niyan eh.
just I want to answer kuya yung ano lang second portion, yung colonization, yung ano. As mentioned, I think sabi nyo sa area ba ninyo wala kayong oysters, parang ganun, di ba?
Marami nga po sa amin. Ang
Meron
point
wala.
ko po, meron po. Ang point ko po, yung sa ibang lugar na kagaya nung
Yeah,
kuwan.
okay.
Kasi ang basis ng design nyo
Yeah, okay.
is colonization of oyster.
I agree. Totoo yan po. So, maraming salamat for your question. I think, ang importante din pagdating sa design at pag-isip kung anong magandang nature-based solutions is also availability ng local materials. So for Pamarawan, ito po yung nakita namin na available. So for example, sa ibang area, hindi available ng oyster shells. Maybe we have to look for something else na available dun sa area na yon. So yun po yung parang konsepto lang na we try to use what is available para less expensive siya than using of course yung sa bamboo, that is true, hindi rin siya we can use we thought about wood, no, pero mas mahal kasi ng konti yon. So ang dito is I think the concept here is importante po yung unang-una yung community kasi sila po yung poprotektahan so that's why lagi namin kailangan when we were doing this, we had to talk, kinausap namin sila talaga, mga concern sila. Tinignan namin yung place nila, ano bang areas na naapektuhan talaga, ano yung mga concerns sila. Kasi po, kung paggawa po ng any kind of solution, doon sa problema na nangyayari doon kung saan man yon, kailangan nakaakma nga po kung ano yung nangyayari doon. So kung yung oyster shells hindi available sa iba, baka naman kasi hindi rin yun ang solusyon doon sa place na yon. Baka iba yung, for example, yung flooding nila is coming from somewhere else, hindi sa coastal, baka sa river or whatever. So, ibang klase pong, shall we say, structures ang pwedeng pag-isipan natin na nature-based na mas agma ho dun sa sitwasyon na yon. Yes?
Follow-up lang po. Kasi dun sa project na ganito, nabanggit natin na gagawin natin itong manually, so manual natin ipapile yung bamboo. So, yung duration ng paggawa nito, gaano katagal, at saka paano pag inabutan tayo ng bagyuhan? So, ano yung contingency na pwede natin gawin para masustain pa rin yung project? Kasi malaking investment yung gagawin natin. Pagkatapos, pag inabutan tayo ng bagyuhan sa ongoing phase ng project, at may masira dito, so paano tayo mag-a-act doon?
Well, the manual is really the option we are recommending, but we don't have to limit sa manual only. It's really the contractor's work plan, how they will do it. We are recommending to use more workforce for the livelihood. But if there's always a risk of any project in terms of Baguio, right? Any coastal, it might happen anytime. It can also happen in actually hard structure. When we are constructing, it might happen. So that's a risk that we cannot avoid. The typhoon coming when we are doing the construction, and we don't have like that kind of facility yet that we can predict typhoon far, far ahead. So we really have to take that risk of typhoon for construction. But the manual thing, we don't really have to stick really with the manual. I was just giving example in Indonesia, they did it manually. Here we can also change our method a bit. Like we can use some equipments for drilling the bamboos inside.
As you mentioned, ginamit natin sa Indonesia to. Pero siguro same din ba yung mga factors na kinonsider natin doon, yung bang tidal waves na yung waves natin? Baka sa Indonesia, it works kasi nasa loob tayo ng isang warp or ano. Pero dito kasi dun sa area namin, malapit kami dito sa Malolos, mas malalakas yung tidal na dumaraan. So baka mamaya, isa yun sa concern namin, bigat ng waves, masira lang din yung mga light materials na gagamitin.
Yeah. That's actually true. Where we are showing the pictures earlier, they don't have like a big typhoons there. That's why they only constructed sediment trapping units, only the structure at the back. That's why we also have additional protection with the breakwater. So we are expecting, we also designed that way, that the breakwater will already take some impacts of the typhoon, and the structure behind will not have the main impact from the typhoon. So we changed the design based on the location here. They don't have breakwater, we have breakwater to protect the sediment trapping unit at the back. And then also the timeline, well, we are looking at NTP, notice to proceed, by December, and then January to April, May. That's the time we are looking at the timeline for the construction, where there won't be a typhoon or like the heavy rainfall events. So that's also, we are timing it based on like the seasonal thing from Philippines here as well. I see that from January to May, we are not getting a lot of typhoons, or like at least strong typhoons.
Sir, pasensya na po kayo dun sa mga, marami kaming tanong. Kasi, hindi kami kasi daming pera ng Malolos po eh. Yung Pombong po kasi, third class municipality. Kaya gusto namin, bago namin i-propose nun sa mayor namin, alam namin possible yung success. Kumbaga malaki yung chance ng success. Kasi sir, dun sa pinapresent nyo sa amin, sabi nyo sa Indonesia yan. Tapos wala silang wave na malaki. Madali talagang mag-sediment trapping pagka wala ka. Agos lang yung, kumbaga, halimbawa, galing siya sa upstream, agos lang yung, kumbaga, pinipigil mo. Doon ka lang nagtatrap. Unlike dito po sa kagaya ng Pamarawan, magkakatabi po yan, Paumbong, Pamarawan, Hagunoy. Ang lalaki po ng wave dyan. Ewan ko lang po kung paano. Kaya po kami, kasi marami kaming tanong, sabi ko nga sa inyo, ipe-present namin yan sa mayor namin, which is kami, napakalit lang ng budget namin. Kaya po sinisiguro lang namin na kumbaga yung kinukwento nyo na yan, possible talaga. Kasi po doon pa lang sa bamboo, ang laki-laking problema na yan eh. Kung titingnan natin eh. Kaya po, pasensya na po kayo sa mga namin.
Understandable naman po yung mga concerns. Just to clarify also, no, Indonesia is just the inspiration. Ayan. Like what I said, this project underwent through a lot of feasibility studies. So, pati yung mga tidal waves na yon, na-consider din yon. Sir, meron po yatang additional si Sir Angel before natin ibalik sa Royal Haskaning.
The bathymetry study showing the plate with the waves. Can you show it? So I think we should refer to the plates of the subject that is being discussed, so that we can refer to the information on the plates. But related to questions regarding maintenance, I think one of the interesting components of this project is that in the tender contract for the contractor, the accountability for the 4-year maintenance period is the contractor. And the participation of locals is as labor for the contractor. So it is not as if the local Pamarawan villagers are on themselves going to be accountable for the maintenance. Is that correct, Raman? Am I correct there? So mga tuwid, ang maintenance na pinoproblema ng ilang mga nandito ngayon ay pananagutan po ng kontraktor. Kaya't kakaiba dun sa mga karaniwang mga proyekto na matapos itayo yung struktura ay iiwanan na ng kontraktor o meron lang siyang 1 taon na pananagutan. Ang pananagutan po ng kontraktor dito, kaya ito ay talagang maselan na batayan ng pagpili ng kontraktor. Ang pananagutan niya ay 4 na taon.
Yes, Sir Angel, that's true. We are looking at the contract where the contractor will be liable not only for the construction, but they have to stay for 4 years for also maintenance of the structure. So they cannot just construct and then leave. So whatever they do, also another condition is to really use the local labor from the barangay itself. One more thing that I want to add actually for all the participants, this is really a pilot project. So we are also trying new thing in Pamarawan. They are definitely a risk. So that's what we are really saying, that this is learning by doing and redoing. So we are expecting that the things might not go exactly how we are expecting. There might be some issues during the implementation, but we don't stop there. We go through the issues. We try to find a solution in a new approach, but using the the issue as a feedback for us to redo it in a better way. So this is really a pilot. It's not that we are saying that this will work perfectly and then this will stay there for long, but we are taking this as a pilot so that we know how to deal with it even in a better way.
Alright. May question po from, yun, dito actually. Tas kayo na. Okay.
Good afternoon po. Randy from the Provincial Government of Bulacan. So for the pilot area, Pamarawan, the design life of the nature-based solution structures that was presented is has a maximum of 15 years, right? By that time, it was expected that the mangrove have already colonized the area. So my question is, based on your studies, no, how long will it take for these mangroves to colonize the intended area and the success rate of this colonization? Because I think a big part of the success of the project is making sure or ensuring that the mangrove have propagated, you know, because by that time the structures will have, I think, deteriorated. No? So that's my question. Thank you.
Marian, there is a slide below about the mangrove, actually, the timeline for the mangrove growth itself. Maybe it's easier to explain with the figure here. We have a slide of a timeline of like the mangrove growth itself. Yeah. So yeah, here. So we are looking at the timeline of 3 to 5 years for mangrove. Actually, this is in an ideal condition when everything goes right. So the first, for first 1 year, we are just preparing a structure. The second, we are expecting to have some accumulation of the sediment already, where we can plant mangroves there. So from 2 to 5 years, we are just looking at the planting of mangroves for that period. But after 5 years, until yeah. So, did I answer your question? Is that okay? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, so again about it being nature, right? It really is quite flexible, seeing how it works. So in Indonesia as well, I was working on a project and we accidentally created a mangrove area. We accidentally created it because we were doing one part of construction and we put a big heavy load here. Basically, we were doing some sand filling here. And when we filled the sand there, we actually pushed some mud in this area. And where we pushed that mud, it was about a 200-meter stretch. Without any seeding, anything, there's a mangrove forest. You can see it now, yeah? And it's just about trying to create that right condition. So the sediment traps are there to just hold some sediment, which currently washes away. And the breakwater is there just to create some slowing down. And if you can create that right environment, the mangrove can come and it can populate. And we may need to adjust that a bit as we go along. So this timeline is an idea, but it is possible as long as you create that environment. Yeah.
Thank you. We will entertain a question here.
Okay po. Sir, good morning. I'm Harvey from Pacesetter, the official university publication of Bulacan State University. Sir, I would like to ask, since we are media publication, local fishermen, especially from Hagonoy and Taliptip coastal communities, have reported in interviews and news articles that severe flood
maybe you as well. Marian? Yeah. I think our colleague can best answer that one, who has been on the both side of the project. So maybe I will hand this over to our colleague.
Check, check. Check.
Okay, okay.
So maybe I try and give an answer. The question was a question about if reclamation is causing flooding. Well, this project is not related to the reclamation. So it doesn't go towards that, the reclamation at San Miguel. This project is unrelated to that, really. So we can't really comment on the impact of that San Miguel project. But this project, and we do not have any involvement with that project. Okay, that's probably the best I can say to stay neutral. But this project, the design of it is to try and prevent flooding from wave attack, right? So from the coastal flooding from the sea, yeah? Whereas I think the flooding you're referring to, which is occurring a lot in Bulacan, has got various sources. It's river flooding, it's also low-lying land as well, and impacts of reclamation, but it's not really related to this project, I'm afraid.
Any follow-up question onto that?
Hello.
Yeah, okay.
Hello, good afternoon. May I request the hydraulic model to be flashed po?
Thank you.
Marian, hydrodynamic, yeah, this slide?
That's fine. As the title says, it's a coastal flood protection pilot project. So as I see, correct me if I'm wrong, this will protect the coastal community from the surge of water from the sea,
Yeah.
right?
This is just the coastal part, yeah.
Yes, but have we considered the redirection of water towards other areas? And how would it affect the accumulation of water from, for example, from the storm, from rainfall in the community going out of the barangay? So have you considered that delay in?
Well, our target for this project is really to look at the coastal flooding side. We also did some survey, but when we did our initial phase of the project, the community, they're really saying that most of the flooding, it happens because of high tide, and it's from the coastal side rather than from the other side. But as we are saying, the project is really targeted to the coastal flood mitigation. So we are not saying once we do this, the community will be completely out of the flooding issue. Yeah, we have mitigated the flood from the coastal side. If there is other issue coming from the other side, we also have to look at that side as well.
Yeah, so that means that aside from this project, there should be other projects as well to protect, to really have flood protection for the communities in the Philippines.
There might be, but at the current situation, the community says the main source is really a coastal side, but it might not be true. They are looking at it because this is the biggest issue at the moment for them. But the order might have some impact as well on the flooding, but that one might not be as severe as the coastal flooding. So if still there's like a flooding issue, there might be need of other structures, other studies as well.
Yeah, okay. So one last question.
Sure.
You said the limitation in your limitations of the project. It's not a flood mitigation, but reduction. Reduction. Do you have figures or simulation that you can show us how much reduction will it do?
To be exact, because this is nature-based solution. Now we are letting man group to mitigate the wave. So as also Trevor mentioned earlier, if you already have like kind of 200, 300 meter width of mangroves, it might already work as a hard structure, which is like 5, 6 meter high wave. But it reduces the impact, but there's no like a exact, we cannot give you the exact value at the moment. We can just give you that the reduction of the wave is very significant based on the mangrove. It also depends on like how wide is the mangrove actually. Some studies have shown that for the mangrove, which is like 500 to 1 kilometer of width of the mangrove, it has actually significantly reduced the surge of the typhoon. That was based on like some studies that I have read, the literatures. So we are just targeting 200 meters, 300 meters wide mangrove because there's already a DPWH wall at the back, right? We are trying to mitigate it. But then if we want completely mangrove to take over without any structure, it might need to be a more wider mangrove, not just like 200, 300 meters.
So, 'cause there's several causes of flooding, right? One is just the water level, and we cannot stop that. The only way to stop the high water level, because you've got land subsidence, you've got water level coming up. Just still water level will continue to flood Pamarawan. The only way to stop that will be to put a ring dike all the way around and pump out, because the land level is just too low. But the people of Pamarawan are very resilient. They can handle that part. You see them walking through the water. But what they can't handle is the additional wave. So when the wave comes, the wave height that we've seen, which is another 1.5 meters on top of the water level. So they're used to walking around in water like this, but then you have a wave here on top of it. And it's the wave that we are stopping. Yeah? Okay? So that's good. So, and then I think you also asked, do we displace water anywhere? That was part of your question. We don't. That's not how this works. You're not moving the water somewhere else like you would do on a river project. But you had a very good point about we need to make sure we don't block drainage. Yeah, so the drainage systems currently, I mean, the water is everywhere around Pamarawan. So there are other drainage routes, and you make a very valid point. We have done some surveys along that southern edge, and we need to make sure that no drains are blocked, so that when that still water level comes up, it can still drain out. Okay, does that answer? Yeah?
Yes, thank you very much for your input. So I hope that raised awareness na we also need other projects aside from this. We also need other interventions to really prevent the flooding.
Yep.
Ayan. Thank you for the inquiry and also for pointing out a very good point in this project presentation. Ngayon, marami nagtatanong kanina, no? Parang kakaiba yung Malolos at sila yung sumubok na una dito sa project na ito, no? So, para mapakinggan natin kung ano nga ba yung naging dahilan at bakit sumubok itong Malolos City, no? To pilot and pioneer this nature-based solution project. Siyempre, walang ibang makakapagpaliwanag niyan kung hindi mismo ang kanilang punong lungsod. Kaya habang ini-enjoy natin ang ating lunch, ay pakinggan natin ang mensahe mula sa ating punong lungsod, ang minamahal natin na si Mayor Christian Natividad.
Maraming salamat po, kompanyera, Attorney Mildred. Palakpakan niya po natin sa Attorney Mildred. Hello po. Magandang tanghali po sa inyo. So, this is just a working lunch, okay? I'll be speaking while hopefully you're enjoying your lunch by now, ha? So, ituloy niyo lang po. So, first is my apologies for not coming on time. I should have been the one who will welcome you for my welcome address a while ago, di ba? But, it just so happened that I also have to attend the National Executive Board of the League of Cities of the Philippines, of which I am also an officer. So there's a very important meeting that I should be attending to for purposes of first, quorum, and second, for matters affecting the next alignments of cities and municipalities. So pasensya na po. Sorry po sa inyo. Pero Muli po, palakpakan nga natin ang Alyansa ng Baybaying Bayan sa lalawigan ng Bulacan at Pampanga. Sa lahat po ng narito, some old faces, some new faces, at ang isa lang naman ang masaya doon, ang common denominator natin dito, still, ang mga LGUs of concern na dapat narito, mga major stakeholders natin, masaya po kami dahil nandito ngayon sa harapan natin. Sa muli nating pag-angat at pagbuhay ng ating advokasya sa ilalim ng Alyansa ng Baybaying Bayan sa lalawigan ng Bulacan at Pampanga na simulat sa pool from the onset is headed and founded by no less than the former mayor of the municipality of Agunoy, former vice mayor, Angel Cruz. Palakpakan po natin. Mayor, thank you. Siya po ang aming Pangulo at ako po ang kanyang tauhan dahil ako po ang kanyang taga-imbita. Dahil ako po ang secretary ni Mayor and very much willing to help sapagkat napaka-noble po ng cause na gusto natin subukan sa pagkakataong ito. And also, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of, Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Netherlands, Mariel Herads. Palakpakan po natin kahit wala na dito. Labong mata ko, alay salamin ko. Tama yun pala. Thank you. And of course, narito rin po si Franco. Si Franco, palakpakan. Franco, pare, salamat ha. Kala ko foreigner ka na rin. Franco Kasama na from the Royal Hashkunings DHV Philippines, si Miss Eileen and Raman. Palakpakan niya po natin. Of course, Trevor, ay narito rin. Nakita ko kanina. Sa lahat na nandito, magandang tanghali po sa inyo lahat. Una, narinig ko parang ang lakas daw ng loob ng Malolos. Alam nyo, para lang yan sa basketball. Manood po tayo ng NBA ngayon. Ma'am Tina, Konsyala Tina Perez, sorry, hindi kita na palakpakan natin si Tina, kasama niya. Mga ibang department heads narito. Sa basketball, makita mo, usually, if you watch an NBA game, may bagong na body movement o trash talking na ginagawa ngayon ng mga players ng basketball pag nakashoot. Ano ginagawa nila? Nakaganito. Di ba? Pag sinasabi, ang lit mo, you're so small. That's why I got to score in front of you because you're so small. Ganyan, di ba? That is what is happening to us right now. Sa sobrang laki ng problema natin, ang galaw natin, ganito lang kaliit. We are still very much dependent on the drainage system. We are still very much dependent on the time, since time immemorial, the ancient, sabihin natin ancient approaches on how to arrest floodings. Ano ang itsura ng Pilipinas noon? Ang demographics, ang population, ang lahat iba. Malawak pa ang kabukiran, malawak ang pangisdaan, kakaunti pa ang tubig, mataas pa ang mga kalupaan natin. Wala pang soil subsidence noong mga panahon na yon. Ang tubig at ang yelo, buong-buo pa doon sa kabilang parte ng mundo. And yet, binabahan na rin tayo mo nagdaang panahon. Dumami na ang tao. Dumami na ang nagtatambak ng kabukiran na dati tinutulugan ng ating mga katubigan. Ang dating mga palaisdaan, natabunan na. Nagkaroon ng mga reklamasyon na sunod-sunod, kumaunti na ang tulugan ng ating tubig, dumadami ang mga tao. So many have changed, and yet, our approach on dealing with the flood problems in our localities, we still depend on the ancient approaches na nakita natin ng panahon. Is it not the time for us to rethink the approaches na dapat gawin natin? We are lagging behind. Masyado na tayo naiiwanan. Look at Netherlands. They are below sea level. Anong ginawa nila? Look at Indonesia, what they are doing right now. Bakit ang Pilipinas? We must not forget the Philippines, and we are not an exception because we are part of the 7,000 plus islands of the Philippines. We are living and we are dying inside the islands covered by bodies of water because ang Pilipinas is an archipelago. Di ba? Dito tayo nabubuhay sa tubig. Ito ang nagbibigay sa atin ng biyaya. Ito rin tubig na to ang madalas nagbibigay ng problema sa atin. So kailangan siguro we think and we start to think as one. Ang unang konsepto na ginawa dito ng Mayor Angel, kaya ako sumama sa kanya, tama ang sinabi niya eh. Abi, pag gumawa ka ng flood mitigation dito, ayoko sabihin yung flood control kasi pahirap i-control i-mitigate na natin. Flood mitigation, maaaring advantageous sa Malolos, disadvantageous sa Paumbong, disadvantageous sa Bulacan. Hahabulin ng Bulacan, magiging disadvantageous sa Obando, magiging disadvantageous sa Maykawayan. Maghahabol ang Valenzuela, magiging disadvantageous sa lahat. Bakit? Hindi tayo nag-uusap-usap. Kanya-kanya tayo ng tira sa problemang iisa lang naman ang pinagmumulan sa atin. Why not we rethink and we restart? We act as one, collegially, na pag-usapan natin, pwede pala tayo nagkakaisa, gawin natin to. And that is why on purpose, ayoko rin tong event na to ay magmukhang event ng City of Malolos. No, this is not an event led by the City of Malolos. This is an event that is yours. This is your event bilang alyansa ng Baybaying Bayan sa lalawigan ng Bulacan at Pampanga. Nagkataong host lang ang City of Malolos. Pero in truth and in fact, itong okasyon po na to ay inyo. Kami po ay makikinig din sa inyo, maaaring kami po ay mapakinggan din dito, pero anuman ang pag-uusapan dito ay isang kolektibong lohika na mabubuo po ng bawat isa na maaaring makatulong sa atin na kasama po natin dito. So, huwag tayong malayo tungkol doon. Kaya, sabi nga sa amin, parang nagsimula na kami doon sa nature-based solution. Di ba? Yung nature-based solution, medyo mahal lang ng konti. Pero sabi ko nga, mas mamamahal yan pag hindi pa natin sisimulan sa ngayon. So, mag-take na kami ng risk. I'm a born risk taker. I do it. I always take risk. Eh, ano ba naman yun? There is no hard and fast rule. Wala pa namang napapatunayan na ito talaga ang tamang solusyon. Wala. Mahirap sabihin yun. Testingin natin. And I'm willing to take the chance. I'm willing to take the risk. Kung mali ito, sagot ko. Ako sisihin nyo. Kung matama ito, sama-sama nating gagawin tagumpay ito sapagkat kaya namin nagawa ito dahil nakasuporta kayo lahat sa ginagawa ngayon ng Malolos na baguhin natin ang approach natin sa pagsugpo ng pagbaha dito sa lugar po natin. Di ba? And then in addition to that, ang dami nyo nang discuss kanina, gusto ko lang mabanggit din na we have this other type naman sa loob. Nature-based ito, meron kaming infra-based sa loob ito. Nabanggit ko kanina, pagka tayo may kabukiran, tinayuan ng bahay o palaisdaan, kung habang panahon na iyan ay basta may tubig, ay natutulugan ng tubig, pag tinambakan mo yung bukid na yan, habang panahon na rin hindi matutulugan ng tubig yan. So lalo nang dadami ang tubig na maghahanap ng mapupuntahan na nagdudulot ng pagbaha. So we have this kind of ordinance right now. Baka gusto nyo pong pagsamasamahan natin. Pwede natin gayahin din sa ibang mga bayan. Babanggitin ko po, and I drafted this all by myself. Isinulat ko lang doon sa whiteboard ko. Nakita nyo po siguro pag nagmi-meeting tayo doon. And the title is like this: An ordinance requiring applicants for reclassification. Developers applying for reclassification of lands from agricultural purpose into some other use. Ano ba yung some other use? Pwedeng residential, pwedeng commercial, pwedeng special, pwedeng industrial. Basta nagkaroon ka ng pagpapalit gamit ng lupa from agricultural into some other purpose, thus the LGU should require the developer as a condition precedent for the issuance of development permit, they should also allocate a certain portion of their land. Maghuhukay pa ilalim at gagawin po nating water impounding facility. Di ba? Pag napuno natin lahat yan, ngayon sa Malolos ang gagawin namin by next year, aside from this, yung harapan ng palengke namin, pati kalsada, huhukayin po namin. Gagawin naming panibagong tulugan ng sobrang tubig na nandun po sa harap ng palengke namin. Dito po sa Barangay Liang, ang buong basketball court po nila ay huhukayin din namin at lalagyan din po ng panibagong tulugan ng tubig. Ang Central School ng Santo Rosario, mga 1 hektarya po yun, huhukayin din po yun at gagawin din po nating panibagong tulugan ng tubig natin. This is as sabihin na nating sagot doon sa mga nawawala dating mga kabukiran na dati dinadaluyan ng tubig at mga palaisdaan na ngayon ay tinatambakan, gagawa tayo ngayon ng mga artificial water impounding facilities na double purpose. Una, maaaring yung sobrang tubig ay mapunta rito. Pangalawa, lahat tayo ay namumblema sa water district natin. Kung ano man yung ano nyo, baka may prime water o kung ano pa man, wala na silang dahilan para sabihin wala silang source ng tubig. Under sa Water Act, kailangan ng water district natin, meron din silang water treatment facilities na makakatulong din sa atin as additional source ng tubig natin for domestic and agricultural purposes. So ilan lang po ito sa mga updates ng City of Malolos. And aside from that nga, na-discuss na dito yung mga green embankments na ginagawa po natin, yung mga sediment trappings po na siguro na-discuss na rin po dito kanina. Susubukan po namin lahat yan. All for our effort na wag makita natin na pag bumaha na naman, tayong nasa gobyerno, ang tanaw sa atin, sa laki at taas ng ring na pinagsusyutan natin, ang effort natin, ganito lang. Dadaanan tayo ng baha. Pag nakita tayo ng baha, titingnan lang tayo, ang liit mo. Kasi ang liit ng effort natin. Now, we try to up our efforts. Subukan natin pagtulong-tulungan to. With you around, guys, we can do something special. Kasama yung mga eksperto na narito, pagsamasamahan po natin ito. At kung dati sa Bulacan nagsimula ang unang republika sa buong Asya, testingin natin. Dito rin natin gawin sa Bulacan. Ang unang pagsugpo ng baha sa Asya ay dito sa Bulacan din magaganap. Kasama po kayo. So that is a tall order. That is a very wishful thinking. But there is no impossible in trying. Subukan natin. Mas mahirap wala tayong makuha kung hindi tayo susubok at manunod na lang sa wala. Nga ang aabutin natin dyan. Kaya po sa inyo lahat na narito, bilang tagapagwakas na tagapagsalita, bayaan nyo pong ipaabot namin sa inyo, una ang pasalamat, pangalawa, ang aming pinakamarangal at pinakamataas sa pagbati sa ginagawa nyo pong effort para makatulong sa pagsugpo ng baha sa ating mga lokalidad. Kaya sa inyo po lahat, maraming salamat po at patnubayan po sana tayo lahat ng ating dakilang lumikha. Maraming salamat at magandang tanghali sa inyo lahat.
Okay po. So, ang hirap pong sundan nun, Mayor, no? Palakpakan nga po nating muli ang punong alkalde ng Malolos. Ayan. Ayan, ang hirap pong sundan nun ng speech ni Mayor, no? Actually, clinose na bigla yung program. Ayun. Okay lang po. Na-excite din po kasi ang lahat talaga naman dito sa bagong strategy na ito. Ayan. Anyway po, maraming salamat, Mayor, at sa LGU ng Malolos for really taking the risk. Ayan, at pagtaya dito sa bagong strategy na